Okay, let's begin. Find your seats. Oh, and Bretta, I need a clicker up here. First one of the year, we got here and there were no tables out. So thanks to all the team members that pulled it together. Do we have a clicker? Oh, there she is. Oh, okay. I'm Katherine Ambrose. My husband Randy and I are your hosts. This is Empowered Senior, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Community outreach, we're focused on housing and quality of life and all topics related to aging, because we're all aging, even Miss Ruth over here, 4-month-old Ruth that's attending. You'll have to be sure to get pictures of the baby. The youngest one today, no question about it, 4-month-old Ruth is the youngest. So today we have kind of a wacky topic, and maybe too wacky, I don't know. I heard some people were coming because they liked the topic, and then I heard some people were too shy to come because of the topic. But you know, this is our 6th year of doing this, and you can trust us. We're not going to do anything too weird. Nothing too weird. So today, this topic was chosen by a gerontologist that's just joined our team, and it's the truth about love, intimacy, and shacking up. So if you didn't know, that's what we're talking about. That it might not be exactly what you think, but we'll touch on a little bit of everything. Can we turn some of the lights down right up front so people can see? We put some papers out there prepared by our featured speaker today that you can use for scrapbook if you need to, or if you need paper, wave your hand and maybe Lifeway Mobility or someone has some extra paper to bring around. Okay, if you can, silence your phones. I'm America's Senior Home Coach. I train people all across the country on how to do community research and outreach to help seniors, because aging is complex. It's not like you turn Medicare age and the Medicare fairy comes and sprinkles magic fairy dust on you and you know everything to do. And so that's what this is about. So if you can, quiet your phones, we'd appreciate that. And thank you to our seminar sponsors. We have Catholic Charities Adult Day Services. Thank you so much for being here. We have Oxford Senior Living. They just purchased the Kansas Masonic Home campus, and they are bringing it back to life. Can we appreciate them? So if you don't know the story about Kansas Masonic Home, or KMH, it was originally for Masons, and then because of Medicare, they weren't able to say that anymore, but yet the Masons were helping to financially support it, and it just became a big financial tangle. And last year, maybe around Thanksgiving time, they announced to all residents that they had to be out by the end of the year. And so a year ago, our charitable organization was the company that came in to help Jamie figure out how to help everyone there so that they all had a great place to go, and we made it as easy as we possibly could. And then Oxford snapped up Jamie, who was a miracle worker during that time, and so great to work with. So now she's working with Oxford. Oxford has bought the campus, and they're getting it ready, and it's going to be called Oxford Vista. And we're going to have more news for you about that, but that's welcome news for our whole metro area. Providence Home Health is back here. Thank you so much. And Lifeway Mobility, a brand new sponsor back there. Thank you very much. He can help people age in place better. He's got all kinds of great things back there to talk to you about. So please thank our sponsors for providing this. It's very expensive for us to provide. We couldn't do it without them. If there's any veterans in the room that would like to come up and be recognized and also lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, we would love to have you up here. After the Pledge of Allegiance, we're going to hear from David Rahm. He's prepared something really special for today. And then we're going to bring up the rest of our speakers, our experts today. And they all have great information to share. And then let's make it as interactive as we can and ask them a lot of questions. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, and thank you for your service. We're so lucky to be living in the United States of America. No matter what happens, we won the lottery when we were born or came to America. What our organization does, we do home consults. We do over-the-phone consults with families. They don't need to live here. We can help consult family on housing and quality of life issues. We do downsize coaching. We help manage transitional moves, education, 2 television shows on PBS. Ladies with PBS, could you stand? Thank you so much for sponsoring us. Our seminars 6 years ago attracted their attention, and we have a weekly show every Friday night. It reruns Saturday and Sunday called Empowering Seniors on PBS Kansas. And that prompted a second show, a sister show later, with Mindy East, Ageless Enthusiasm, for boomers, Gen X, and everyone wanting to redefine life, health, and happiness after the age of 50. Okay. And then, of course, we do real estate, and we help people through senior living options. Downsizers Club is starting back up by popular demand. We have a new location. We have just taken a physical location at K96 and East 13th. We're so excited about it. And as part of that opportunity, we have a big training room and conference room. So we'll be doing Downsizers Club at our new building at K96 and East 13th Street. It's a great place to come to. And Jillian and Jeremy Shear will be helping to facilitate that. Jillian is our daughter, and she's America's Senior Home Coach as well. And then Jeremy Shear owns an estate sale company, which is pretty handy for us. And so he's ready to answer all the questions about your stuff. Downsizers Club is about downsizing should leave you overjoyed, not overwhelmed. So next Thursday, third Thursday of every month. Okay, David Rahm, come on up. David Rahm is a retired attorney, and I'm going to let him fill in the blanks there. Thank you, David, for being here.
Well, I tell everybody that I'm a reformed attorney, or I'm trying to reform anyway. So it's kind of, when you get out of law school, life is different, but then when you get old, you got to go back to normal again, right? So I want to talk about a very important topic that applies to all of us as we get older. And I recently have experience at this topic, and you'll hear that here in my speech. So I want to welcome all who are in attendance today for the February 2024 seminar. My name is David Rahm. I was invited to speak today by Katherine Ambrose, who started this wonderful organization. I'm a native Wichitan. I grew up in College Hill on the corner of 2nd and Yale, right next to the Frank Lloyd Wright House. I attended Cape on Mount Carmel, Wichita State, and ultimately I went to law school at Creighton University of Law in Omaha, Nebraska. After that, I moved to Las Vegas, Nevada, and became an attorney in Las Vegas, Nevada for 25 years. The stories I could tell, you wouldn't believe half of them, but they're all true. When I retired at the ripe old age of 62, I moved to Sedona, Arizona, and I lived there for 7 years. And then I came back to Wichita in October, and I'll tell you why later. So I returned to Wichita in October, and I'm happy to be involved as a volunteer in this organization because what they do is important. My pastor in Las Vegas The town of gambling said, I'll give you 100% odds. If you're born, you're going to die. That's a fact. So I want to talk to you today about two things. First, the Boy Scout motto, be prepared. Second, quoting Franklin Roosevelt, we have nothing to fear but fear itself. But the real secret is, if you're prepared, you don't have to be afraid. If you're not prepared and end-of-life issues start happening to you, it'd probably be good to be afraid. I dealt with all kinds of clients when I practiced law. And even before, when I was in law school, I worked at the First National Bank of Omaha in the trust department. We had about 10 attorneys and about 200 really wealthy clients. And believe it or not, they have the same issues, the same problems, the same family issues that all of us not rich people have. Fractious children, fear, lack of planning. I went to a beautiful house after this woman died. She was worth millions. Her two out-of-state kids came cruising into town, flew into town. They went over to the house. And they were both going to get millions. And they almost got into a fist fight over a vase. I thought it was the dumbest thing ever. And it wasn't a Ming vase. They could have bought thousands of the vases with the money they were getting. This was totally stupid. Later, I saw an 83-year-old woman. I represented an 83-year-old woman who, in a bad attempt to handle her estate matters, deeded her house over to her daughter. And when her daughter needed money, she tried to evict her mother from her own house. And I represented her for free because it made me mad. And I told the judge, Judge, this is her house. You have to leave her in it. And guess what? He did not. He let the daughter throw her mother out of her own house. So, be logical, be prepared. I learned as a lawyer, well, first of all, I tell people, I found out I get paid $400 an hour for doing something I love to do anyway, which is shoot my mouth off. and it just comes naturally. So, like the man in the hour had finally met. But I discovered that I could charge people $400 an hour because they come to attorneys after they have a problem instead of coming to an attorney before they have a problem. Instead of coming to an attorney and planning and thinking about these issues and getting counsel, they wing it. And then when they have a problem, they get to pay me a lot of money. You know, if we're sick, do we go to the doctor? Yeah. If we need a tax advice, do we go to a CPA or an accountant? Yes. But everybody thinks they're a junior lawyer. I've never understood that. And my experience with advice parallels Benjamin Franklin's advice. He said, don't give advice because the wise don't need it and fools won't heed it. So I'm going to give you some advice today, and I hope you all heed it. So you need to prepare for end-of-life issues on the front side. You need to obtain proper counsel. I lost my spot here. So the first point is be prepared. Today we have several experts in a variety of areas that will talk to you for free and give you counsel. And this organization will meet with you, will call you, will even come out to your house if you need that. Everybody is donating their time. There's no charge for any of these services, including the home visits. You've also been handed a short planning guide. That planning guide tells you some essential things you need to prepare for as you approach end of life. Now, in my opinion, you should take that form and look at the issue, mark the issues that are important to you that you're not prepared about, write your name on the bottom, and turn it in to Katherine, and then she, I, or somebody from our organization will follow up with you with a phone call and help you demystify the mysterious.
Mm-hmm. And David prepared that himself because you're going to tell your story about your wife, so
Right.
we can talk about love.
Don't steal my thunder.
intimacy. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So you can do 3 things with that piece of paper. You can fill it out and turn it in, and we'll reach out to you if you need some help. You can take it home and set it on the counter and say, oh, I'll get to that later. And what generally happens when that happens? It ends up in the trash can, right? Or you can leave it on the table when you leave today. You know the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, right? So, do you have issues today? Do you need help repairing your house? Do you need home health care? Do you have questions about Social Security? Do you need to look into assisted living or a nursing home? Are you getting to the stage where those things are going to become part of your life? We have people that have the answers that you need for free. Now, I don't have my license anymore, so I can't legally charge you anymore, but I sure wish I could still charge you $400 an hour. I'd love that, but if you can get it for free, that's better. Do you have concerns about the future? How do I prepare today for tomorrow? Now, a lot of us don't have that many tomorrows left, so starting to get prepared might be a real... Remember Gomez Adams of the Adams family? Whenever somebody had a good idea, he said, that's a capital idea. And I stole that from him. So it would be a capital idea to get prepared if you're not. We want to help you to be prepared. That's the first thing. Can't decide which side I want this on. So we all know, whether we want to admit it or not, that we or our spouse is going to die one of these days. That's a fact. We don't like to think about it. We don't like to talk about it. And generally, we don't like to plan for it because we're afraid, or it hurts too much to think about, or we don't know what to do. But you need to be prepared for when you lose a spouse, for when you need to sell your home or downsize, when you get sick and need home health care, when it's time to consider moving into assisted living or a nursing home, or all the other things that happen to us in what they call the golden years, right? I call them the pot metal years, but they can be golden if you're prepared, but they will be pot metal if you're not. Believe me. And I understand and sympathize with you. My wife was chronically ill for 42 years. And the last 2 years she was non-ambulatory, couldn't walk. She was in the hospital at least 100 times in 42 years. And every time, they give her a couple of quarts of oil and some antibiotics, and a couple of days later, she'd come out of there ready to go again, right? And so that's what I came to expect. Unfortunately, last June, she went in and didn't come out. I lost my girl. I lost the love of my life, my best friend, after 42 years. And she was only 70 years old. And let me tell you, it hurts. And a lot of you here know that. And it sucks. And it sucks even worse if you're not prepared. Even I, an attorney, was not fully prepared for losing my wife. Oh yeah, I had a will, I had a trust, I knew where all the bills were. I probably started saving a lot of money once my wife checked out, because even though she couldn't walk anymore, she was an expert online shopper. As a matter of fact, this isn't in my speech, but I'll tell you a little story about my wife. Her brother was staying with us for a while, and one day he was out mowing the yard, and the FedEx truck came screeching up, and the guy jumps out and he says, "I don't have anything to deliver here today." He got back in his truck and he left. She couldn't deny it because her brother ratted her out, right? She bought a new dress one day, and she said, "You like my dress?" I said, "Yeah, you look nice in it." She said, "Well, I saved you $50. I said, "Really?" I said, "Let me have it." And she said, "Let you have what?" And I said, "Let me have the $50 you saved." And she said, "Well, I don't have it." I said, "Well, how much real money did you spend to save me an imaginary $50? She said, "Well, it was $150 for the dress, but it was on sale for $99, so I saved you $50. Every woman I've ever told that story to agrees with my wife. That's not my type of logic. That's not what they taught me in law school, I'll tell you that for sure. So anyway, after I lost my wife, I was totally overwhelmed with sadness and spent the first month basically crying all the time, right? And women, I say, when men die, women go on cruises. When men die, or when women die, us men are hopeless. We're lost. And it's been 7 months since I lost my girl. And it's better, but it ain't great. So, but I still had to arrange to transport her from Arizona to Kansas, have a mortician on each end, plan a funeral, and they're expensive, take my word for it, and dispose of all of her clothing and jewelry and all that stuff. The jewelry's a good thing. I gave that to her jeweler down in Arizona, and he's selling it all for me, and if I wasn't sure I could retire before, I'm pretty confident I can retire after he sells all her jewelry. So, one thing I can tell you for sure, because I know from personal experience, this is absolutely the worst time to have to be making a lot of life decisions. It's the worst time to have to be finding out where are all the bills, where's the life insurance policies, where's the wills, where's the this, where's the that. It's the worst time to have to be reaching out to an accountant or an attorney to get advice. It's the worst time because you're already overwhelmed and you're already sad. It's not a good time for you to be making decisions. You're far better off if you're prepared. So if you prepare in advance, if you've identified family who can help you, if you've arranged for outside help, then you have a plan. My best friend, his parents owned the largest real estate firm in the state of Kansas. Won't mention any names. And she was an old-fashioned mother of 6, didn't pay the bills, didn't know anything. Well, her husband got Alzheimer's and ended up in a nursing home and died. And she called me up one day and said, "David, I'm broke." She never paid a bill. She didn't know how to do anything. So I bought her a condo out in East Wichita and put her up in this condo for 7 years until she died. Because at our house we had bologna. At their house they had their food delivered from Larchers. They had good stuff. So I practically lived at their house. I even answered the phone if it rang. I was like their 7th kid. So later in life, I was fortunate enough to be able to take care of her the way she took care of me when I was a kid. But most people don't have that luxury. Don't be afraid. If you are prepared, you have nothing to be afraid of. It's that simple. I want to give you a couple of examples of easy ideas that you can do to make life better for you at the end of life and make it better for your children. Your children will thank you for doing these things. I've read many articles about what children hate when their last parent dies and they come home to the house. The number one thing they absolutely hate is that that house is filled to the rafters with all the stuff you and your spouse spent 80 years accumulating, and you didn't get rid of any of it. And all that stuff that you think is valuable, all that stuff that you think has sentimental value, about half of it's going to get chucked in a dumpster in the driveway. No joke. And the other half's going to go to Goodwill. So, my first instruction to you, instruction, not request, clean it out, give it away, sell it, get rid of it. When I was sorry, I lost my spot again here. So what can you do to avoid this? Here's a very simple idea. Let's say you have 4 children. You get together for the holidays. Take a pen and a pad, have a drawing, 1, 2, 3, 4. Say, okay, number, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Say, number 1, what do you want out of the house here? And they'll pick something, and you write it down. Number 2, number 3, number 4, back and forth, until they've picked everything they want. Now, guess what? You're not going to have any fist fights over a vase. You can go knowing that you planned and prepared with your kids that they get what they want. And the rest of the stuff, nobody picked. Get rid of it. Now, isn't that a simple thing to do? And it's not scary to do that. It's actually good. Could be kind of fun. And it makes life easier for your kids when you're gone. You know, everyone got what they wanted. It was an orderly process, and there were no fistfights. The checklist in front of you contains many things you need to do and think about to be prepared. You don't have to do it. You can keep your head buried in the sand if you want to. And then your kids will really be unhappy with it because they'll have to go hire the attorney and the CPA and pay them $400 an hour. I'll tell you one more horror story. It wasn't on my original agenda, but I had a lady come to me. Her dad died. He was the last one to go. And he died with a fair amount of money. And there were 4 other kids. And the other 4 kids all got together and decided that they were going to give her $5,000. So she got a check for $5,000 with a nice letter saying, this is what you get. Well, Dad's estate was worth about $1 million. So they each should have got $200,000. But the other 4 decided she shouldn't get that. So I went with her over to their house one night when they were going through Dad's stuff. And I said, well, explain to me exactly why she should only get $5,000. They said, well, Dad helped her out a lot during life. I said, well, didn't Dad help you go to college? Yeah. Didn't Dad give you money for your down payment on your first house? Yeah. Didn't Dad help you with this, that, and the other thing? Yeah. So why are you picking on my gal? I said, boys and girls, we're going to end up in court on this deal here. It's going to cost you probably $25,000 to fight it, and you're going to lose. Because the judge is going to order that she gets an equal share. And she did, because I went over to their house that night. We didn't have to litigate it. They just gave in and treated her fairly. You don't think that stuff can happen with your kids, do you? Oh, believe me, it can. And it may, if you're not prepared. Your kids are going to thank you. They're going to say a prayer to you. Thank you for being organized. I wonder how many insurance policies never get cashed when the second parent dies because the kids don't even know you have one. And they don't know where it is. And they don't find it. I'm pretty sure the insurance companies absolutely love it when they collect all those premiums but never have to pay the claim. This is why we're here today. Fill out that form. Go to the tables when I'm finished and talk to these people. There's no shame in not knowing how to prepare end-of-life things. We're all an expert in something, but generally very few of us are an expert in this area. My wife was from Radium, Kansas. How many people have ever heard of Radium, Kansas? Not very many, right? And she used to claim, I was a city boy. I was from Wichita. She used to claim I didn't know which end of the screwdriver to use. I wasn't quite that helpless. But everybody has an area of expertise. And end-of-life issues are generally, there's one person that's an expert, but she's probably the only one in here. So it's okay not to know, but it's not okay to not prepare. And it's not okay not to ask for help, because sooner or later, you're going to need that help. If you do it now, it's painless and easy. If you do it later, it's painful and hard. Use the experts. Roosevelt was right. We have nothing to fear if we're prepared. If you don't prepare, you'll be in a panic and you'll be overwhelmed when something catastrophic happens. Don't let that happen to you. Thank you.
Thanks, David. We know. Thank you very much. It's really wonderful of you, with everything being so raw, to care so much about our attendees and to prepare that for them. So thank you very much. We're going to turn it up to party. In fact, afterwards, there is a photo booth, and we've got 3 photographers in the room, and we can get some pictures of you over there at the photo booth. But in the meantime, let's bring up our experts that all have something to share. And in a few minutes, we're going to have Rebecca up here for a little dance break, little bio break, or I'm going to be dancing. So Shelley, come on up. Michelle Lloyd and Miss Susanna Matthews. And David, you're welcome to stay up here too if you want to participate in the Q&A. In fact, right now, does anybody have a question for David? All right, we'll save those for the end. All right, so ladies, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass the mic, and you can introduce yourself and why you're here, what you want to share. Oh, David, I'm sorry, that footstool. Okay, sorry. I guess your feet will just have to dangle. I'm sorry about that. Okay, Shelley, here you go.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Shelley Palmer. I go by Coach Shelley. I left the cards on the table. I kind of specialize in life coaching. So I own a preschool. I have 50 children under the age of 5. And I also work with people trying to keep them to stay connected in their marriage, and so they can all be married for a really long time, like some of you. And then I also am here today to teach you about connection, fun, the power of words, and the power of touch. The more we can have joy and fun and love and connection in our life, the happier each day of our life will be.
Thank you. My name is Michelle Lloyd, and I am currently a licensed care home administrator, but I also have 20 years experience in physical therapy and studied gerontology, and I'm here today to talk about dating and when things get a little bit spicy later in life and what that might look like, talking with your family, with your children, your adult children, making your wants and needs known, and you know, fun doesn't stop just because we get a little bit older, so we'll talk about some of that.
I can't wait to hear about that. I'm going to hand the mic back to you. I'm Susanna Matthews, and I help people elevate dating and relationships and deepen connections. And I do this by providing psychologically informed, spiritually informed dating and relationship coaching and matchmaking services. And I have some magnets on the table for you to help you magnetize love and friendship wherever you go. And some chapstick on the table for you as well, so you can stay kissable.
I bought reinforcements with me today. I bought my friend Gabriel Yankee over here, who is a retired psychologist. And we're gonna get him down on the floor and twist his arms until he agrees to volunteer, so that,
Very good. And so we might like to hear from you, Gabriel, and some of the other experts and attendees in the room. When we open it up, we definitely want to hear some of your best thoughts on this so we can talk about it. Because love, intimacy, and relationships, shacking up, whether it's been for 4 decades or something new, is complex, very complex. And so that's what we're here to talk about. And David, do you think you might get some dating advice? Because I know you've... Uh-oh.
that's all right, I don't need that thing.
Here we go.
Well, I was talking to my friend Carrie O'Halloran the other day, and I was talking to my friend Rocky, who lost his wife after 38 years, and I said, Rocky, I haven't been on a date for 44 years. Like, what's it like to go on a date? He said, it's strange, man. He said, you know everything about your wife, and now you're sitting across the table from this chick you don't know anything about. So I told Carrie, I said, I'm going to hand her a questionnaire. Like, do you at least have $1,000 in the bank? Have you ever been institutionalized before? You know, just basic questions I want to know answers to before. And I said, yeah, fill out this questionnaire, and if I like the answers, I'll take you out to dinner. My friend Carrie said, that probably won't work.
Boo.
So, you think that would work?
The date maven
I
is going
have
to
a
come to the
questionnaire.
rescue.
I have a deep, thorough questionnaire. I'll give the questionnaire for you.
Okay. So people do come to you for dating advice. So how do you go about, give us some of the advice that you give people about how they come across. That maybe his questionnaire was a little too not so smooth.
Job interview-ish. Well, I mean, I'm very values-based in my approach. So those would be the kinds of questions that would be on the questionnaire, is really understanding what is your perspective in life and what's really important to you, and kind of what's your orientation in the world. And I really try to encourage my clients to be just very intentional, very conscious about how they approach dating and friendships, and to just really stay open. I really think that love can be our guide, our mentor, our teacher, our guru. There's a lot to learn, and when we kind of have that openness to learning new things about ourselves or about other people, then there's no such thing as like a wasted lunch or a wasted interaction. If we can just say, okay, well, this person might not be the person I run off into the sunset with, but I learned this interesting thing.
Very good. And Michelle, when people find new love or they're dating, tell us a little bit about that, and especially about adult kids, because sometimes, I don't know, sometimes adult kids might have opinions.
Have any of you ever experienced that before? You're ready to start this journey of self-discovery or finding a new companion, and your adult children kind of choke. It's as if, us as adult children, we kind of have a hard time seeing our parent with anybody else besides our other parent. And those adult kids can just put on the brakes full stop and make everybody's life miserable, can't they? So I'm speaking from experience. So it is important, just as Mr. Fromm was talking about preparing your important documents, preparing your wants and wishes to be known. You kind of have to prepare those grown kids, don't you? Now, part of your brain says, no, I'm a grown-up. I'm such and such years old, and I can do what I want. But it does help if you take a few moments to tell the kids, look, I'm not asking for your permission. I'm letting you know I'm making new friends. And this is not me giving you, segue into telling me my business, because we don't want that. They already do that enough, don't they? Right? And I will say that if you prepare them a bit, it does kind of help decrease the shock. I don't know if you guys have found that as well, so that you're able to interact with them and not have them kind of have that grown up. There's nothing like somebody in their 40s or 50s having a full-on tantrum because their mom or dad is seeing somebody.
So it becomes kind of a whole family thing sometimes. And then friends probably want to butt in and give their opinions as well. So the stuff we went through growing up and high school and everything else, it doesn't stop. The drama continues. So, Shelley, people are different the way they approach love and feelings and intimacy, and I know that's something that you can relate to some of the preschool training that you've developed, and I thought that was really interesting, and that's why you're here, is to share about touch and how people are different.
Yeah, so your body doesn't lie, and so what I do is I body test individuals to figure out like what kind of touch really feels good to them. So different types of touch, you might be like, do not do that again. That is like someone taking their nails on the chalkboard, you know. And so I take them through and find out like, do they like more tapping, inner soft touch, or more touch like you would get in a massage, or do they need more pressure and more like holding down? And we use like basic things that you could get at the dollar store and to test out like what feels good to you, and you can just do it on your arm and be fed really, and I'll give you a demonstration of that when Katherine's
Yeah, so we're
ready.
not doing anything kinky.
Right.
So tell them about the preschool kids, and put your lips right up to the mic and talk loud so they can hear you, about the preschool kids at nap time.
So my preschool kids, depending on like what kind of touch they like, also can help them go to sleep. So if they're more into like energetic touch and they don't like to be touched at all, they won't go to sleep. So you can stand like 2 or 3 feet away from them and kind of just send energy towards them, and they'll rest and go to sleep, or calming your own nervous system down. Like if I have a kid that's not going to sleep and the teacher's like sitting there and she's like, I just want this kid to go to sleep. I'm like, you have to really watch yourself, because then you just got to like take a breath and just kind of breathe and notice that if you are calm, they will calm. And that's the same with as no matter how old we are. If we have somebody that's sitting next to us and they're like, we're getting agitated, it might be because they're their own anxiousness in their own body. And so by calming ourselves, we can calm other people that we love. And then if it's a child that needs a little bit more, like say they were breastfed, sometimes if you just kind of touch their cheek like this right here, you'll notice they'll go to sleep. Or if there's someone that needs a little more pressure, if you kind of get a weighted blanket. So my teachers are always like, we don't understand why this works, but Shelley said do this, and they go to sleep. So when I first opened a preschool 10 years ago, believe me, they didn't all go to sleep. And I thought I was going to lose my mind. And I've learned a lot of things to help them, and not every child in my school sleeps. And that's like 48 children. And it's amazing.
Yeah, so she's got video training available for preschools across the country, and I just thought that was interesting, that how our energy impacts other people's energy, and that people relate to things different. Like my daughter, Jillian, if you touch certain things, you just have a visceral reaction. And my son Brian, when he was being born, and his head was touched, and his heart rate would spike. He, to this day, doesn't like anybody to touch his head. Isn't that weird?
No, it's actually very normal. And also with our partners, we tend to give what we want to receive. And by being able to know what we want and what our partner wants, we can communicate with each other more. My partner will remind me all the time, because he knows I have this training. He's like, Shelley, remember, I'm not a sensual, and I don't want you to touch me like that. And I'm like, I'm a toucher, so I just want to touch all the time. So we've learned how to communicate with each other more about that. And it is really interesting that some people do not like to be touched. Mm-hmm. And if your partner is one of those people and you are a toucher, that's another reason why you would want to know about this, because you are probably touch-starved. And so being able to communicate that with each other, you can, because you love each other, you know how to give to one another better.
Very good. And you're married to a dentist.
I am.
And how long have you been married?
It'll be 34 years in June.
And because we're Facebook friends and we've known each other for a while, I can just see that you go to a lot of effort for special dates and things, and even putting on dating experiences here locally. So we'll talk about that. But I think it's time for a dance break. Is Rebecca up here? Come on up. So the reason we do this, it's to make it fun, but also if you're laughing and you have endorphins and you've been moving, it's easier to learn and make connections with what we're talking about. So if it makes you uncomfortable, you can just watch us make a fool of ourselves. But otherwise, dance in your chair or stand up and dance. We're doing the Love Shack.
All right, everybody up, come on. This is the deal. How many of y'all are single, like me? Okay, just know, just because it's like February, the month of love, it doesn't mean that you can't love like anybody and everybody around you, right? So, here we go. All right, let's go, time to work. Reach it. Yeah, we're love shacking, baby. Across the body. I thought about a Congo line to the Love Shack, but march it, march, march. Add a little toe tap if you want. All right, here we go. Hip circles, just in case. This is a good warm-up, I'm just saying. Reverse. It's fun to dance in front of a mirror if you're alone, I'm just saying. Here we go, march. Everybody shimmy, Jack shimmy, shimmy. Around and around and around and around. Just move it however you want to move it right here. Show your stuff. So they say that my gym is a covert dance studio. I don't know where they get that from. No sense at all. Dancing alone can change your mood. If you don't like to dance, music alone can change your mood, okay? So give yourself the ability. If you're in a mood and you can't feel the love for the day or for yourself, turn on a song. It will change. All right, here we go. Everybody balance. Because this may be the only time you test it. You can add a little dance. Hang on to that chair. Switch. A little karate in you. Not here, sorry. Dance it out. Come on, use those arms. Anytime we add arms, it adds a little cardio. All right, we're gonna bang. You guys ready to bang down the door? Hey, whatever door you want to bang down, you go for it. All right. Bang, bang on the door. Then we're gonna boom, boom. Yeah, use those hips. Other arm, bang. Here we go. Bump, bump. You can do it again. Bang. Bump, bump. Bang. Bump, bump.
Can't hear you.
Dance it out. Switch arms. On the door. We're almost there. All y'all warmed up? Nice and warm? Give yourself a curtsy. Y'all have a fabulous
job.
February.
Thank you.
Don't forget to always love yourself no matter where you're at so you can love everybody around you.
Give a hand to Rebecca, Club Hope. Thank you so much. I even saw the psychologist and the attorneys in the room dancing. All right. All right, now we're fired up and ready for some of your best advice, the best tips that you brought. So, Shelley, we'll start with you. She brought show and tell.
Let me set it up here.
She's going to set that up. Do you need a second?
Nope.
Okay.
I would like to invite my mom up here.
Shelley's mom. Our poor mothers. This is my mom, Barbara, and her friends here.
Yay. We love our moms. So this is my mom, Judy Jones, and I'll tell you a little bit about her. She doesn't like it. I always tell her age because I'm so proud of it. But everybody always thinks we're sisters, and I don't.
There's a lot of people my age in this room, so that's okay.
So she's 73 and 74. That's right. So what's so great about my mom is she works at my preschool. She works in the 2-year-old room.
That's why I could dance today, because we danced at the preschool.
So she usually has 9 2-year-olds and an assistant. I told them that my mom does not change diapers, so the assistant has to do all the diapers. My mom was married to her husband. I'm going to let her tell you how many years they were married.
31.
And she has I know that dating is really important, but my mom has chosen to not date. She kind of likes living her own life. And the important thing about that is that when you are learning the things about touch, you're more learning about yourself internally so that you can also feed yourself and love yourself. Some of us choose not to have another partner, but touch is so important, and so is words. And these are things that I'm trying to make everyone feel safe around so that we feel safe to give to our friends and give to our moms and give to the people that we love. And so what I love to do with my mom is she will have her arms bare, and I'll put on nice music, and then we'll just have time where she can just lay, and then I just use the toys on her. So if you're not big about someone physically touching you, that's what's so great about the toys that you can get at the dollar store, because you don't have to touch them. And so if you're going into someone in a nursing home or someone that you've cared about, it's just a beautiful way to give to this person. The other thing is the power of words. So Catherine's going to come over here and demonstrate. We're going to do this game first, and then we'll do the words.
Okay.
Okay, so this is called the gossip game.
Okay.
And what you're going to do is you're going to have the person next to you. And Catherine, tell us like 3 great things that you're so excited about this year.
Well, I'm so excited, of course, that we've got our seminars set up. I'm excited about our new beautiful office. And I'm excited about this amazing weather we've been having.
Great. Okay, can you stand right here?
Mm-hmm.
Can you give my mom the microphone?
Yes.
No, you're going to stand right here. So we're going to talk behind Catherine's back. It's the gossip game. Okay? Wow, did you hear that Catherine just got a new office and she's so excited about it?
I just now heard about it, but where's the office at? I don't know if I want to go to any place in town that's not safe.
Oh, well, you'll feel very safe here. It's actually where the Keller Williams office is. It's a beautiful building, and Catherine has taken like so much care in decorating it so that everybody would feel comfortable coming inside. And she started a nonprofit to help seniors when they're downsizing so that they can know what they need to do. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I think I've got everything handled, but what time does she take appointments?
Well, she works from 9 to 5 every day, so you can set up a time for that because, you know, she wants time with her family too. How did that make you feel, Catherine?
I'm available evenings and weekends also. You all have my cell phone.
Okay, that's true commitment. Okay, so
I also feel like it's amazing because you knew so much and shared it really well. But I bet after it goes through a few people, it changes.
possibly. And I helped you out a little bit here. So when you go behind your friend, just to save time, but this is a great game to play, you can go behind them and you just talk behind their backs and you're like, you are so self-sufficient. You are so safe and secure. You are a beautiful person. I love knowing you. So I want you just to find somebody right now and turn to them and kind of tell them the things that you want to hear, and then turn your back and listen to them talk about you behind your back. All right, I'm going to have you start to come to an end. Did everybody get a turn of hearing nice things about themselves? Wonderful. How did that feel? Can you just raise your hands if that felt really good? I loved looking around the room and seeing the hugs and the smiles and the recognition as you were hearing the nice words about you. And my mom wanted to share just a little bit something about children with you, about also them hearing nice words.
Hey, I've got a new game you can play with your grandkids for silence game. So what do we normally do? We normally do 1, 2, 3, shh. All right, here's the new one. 1, 2, 3, cha, cha, cha. Let's try it. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Cha, cha, cha.
Awesome. Okay, you have the floor, Mom.
Well, my profession was a hairdresser. I was not a preschool teacher. And then when she bought this preschool, I found out I love it. Those kids they give you such love, unconditional love. But then again, too, it's important to give it back to them. You know, say, I love the way this little boy laughs. You know, he'll go around and just be laughing because he's singing or because he's dancing or because he's running. He'll be running and he'll be laughing. But it's important to let this child know that you like that about them. And even the babies, they can't even talk yet. And I say, you're such a pretty little girl, or you're such a nice little boy that can laugh. And they don't even have words yet. But they can understand when you're saying something nice about them. And I think that's one thing about our preschool, because we've had other people come and they say, well, this other preschool, they didn't like my child, or giving out negative things. And we always try to give out positive things, just always positive things, whatever your age.
Yes. All ages, that's so important. And we all have that inner child in us still. And even that child that got hurt in preschool, we still have that child in us also. So the more we can go about connecting and healing that and speaking so kindly to ourselves, it's a daily practice. So the last thing I want to share today is I'm going to bring out some of the toys, and I put some toys on your table. If you you have to take them because you're like, I just have to, but I'd rather you not take the toys and take the cards so that I have them for the next demonstration I give. But I'm going to put on some soft music, and you guys, if the partner that you had, you can try one of the different toys. And it's more of you can close your eyes and just feel it on your arm and just be curious. Yeah, just be curious. So I'm going to, if Catherine would hold the microphone up, I'm just going to show you a
This
couple
lady
of
already
things.
chose the fork.
What kind of touch is that if you use a fork?
Well, you can use the fork for a lot of different things. You can put pressure in it, and it can also be soft. This is a cat toy that I love to use. It feels really good. It gives that really light, energetic touch. And then I usually have some feathers. This is more of a soft, this is like a car mitt. So you never go to the grocery store.
I
See,
didn't
she said
like
she didn't
that
like
one.
that one. You never go to the grocery store again and walk away from everything becomes something you can play with. You know? So all this stuff is Dollar Tree. But if you close your eyes and someone just does this for you and you listen to soft music, or you can set up an appointment with me, or even my friend Mindy's here. She does tapping. She's more perfectionist, or you can stand up, Mindy. She does really good with light touching. So if massages don't feel good to you, and you just want like the more light tap, this really feeds me. I would not have known that, but right here, just this light tapping and really slowness, I could have that done to me for hours. So there's different ways that you can bring this into your life. I will.
And massages are so good for you, but sometimes people go to massage and it's too deep, and then they're in pain for 2 or 3 days. So it's really important that you know what kind of touch you like so you can give instructions, and never be shy if you're getting a massage and it's too hard or it's too soft. You've got to speak up. But that helps your circulation.
So as you get your partner and you use some of the different toys, I'll come around with the basket, and we can, if there's something you want to try, just let me know. So we'll just do this for about 2 minutes.
So we'll do this for 2 minutes, and maybe your mom can take some others around, and then we're going to get back to the panel. And Mindy East, I might have you come up also to share your story.
Okay, I'm going to be available if any of you want to ask any more questions or try any more of the toys after the seminar. And the only last thing I want to remind you of that I forgot to, which is so important even with children, is we teach consent. And at my school, we really teach a lot about not touching without asking permission first. And so that's always so important for all, even adults, that you always ask. Even to give a hug, you say, can I give you a hug? Because some people don't like hugs.
That's true. Yeah.
So practicing consent is very important. I wanted to make sure I mentioned that.
Thank you. Can I touch you with a fork? You have to ask.
Okay, Jillian, I'm going to give you a mic so that you can help with Q&A. And let's hear from our gerontologist. So we had fun with that. But sometimes it's a little serious in senior living communities. But based on everything that we've talked about, what do you think is important for people to know?
I think it's important for people to know that just because we reach a certain age, intimacy or the desire to be touched or the desire for companionship doesn't stop. There are instances in senior living communities, whether it be care home or assisted living or independent living, where new romances develop. And so I would want seniors to know that it's actually your right to have a companionship no matter where you live, even if you live in a facility or an apartment complex. Sometimes the most pushback we get from that is indeed those adult children. Probably the least favorite part of my profession is when I get to call someone's grown children and say, just a heads up, Mom has developed a romantic relationship with a new friend. And they say, well, what do you mean? And I say, you're really going to make me say it, aren't you? Your mom has a man friend, boyfriend, special friend. How would you like me to preface this? And the adult kids all react a little bit differently. One time I had a gentleman in his 90s who developed a relationship with the woman across the hall from him who was in her late 70s. And you mentioned consent. Consent can get a little bit complicated as we get older. Sometimes we may have a little bit of confusion, but we still know that we want to be with somebody. So sometimes we will do a courtesy call to the family so they're not shocked when they accidentally walk through a closed door. So I once called a daughter and said, your father has developed a relationship. And she said, what do you mean? I said, your father has developed a physically intimate oh. And she says, well, we don't believe in premarital sex. And I said, ma'am, I think St. Peter will give you a pass after the age of 75. You know, I'll let you have the abstinence talk with your father. And I called the girlfriend in the relationship, I called her daughter, ma'am, just a heads up, your mother has developed a relationship with one of her peers. And she just laughed and laughed and laughed. And she said, you must not know my mother very well yet. She's been married 5 times. So it's very interesting. You will see, too, when you, I know some of us here work in senior living, and they actually hold weddings, right? You know, even if folks are in the care home, they still want to get married. They still want to have that relationship. So again, it's your right, even as we get older. So if you have a loved one visiting, or a loved one in a care home, when you go visit them, what do you say, do you have a boyfriend yet? It can get interesting. It gets a little bit like high school. I've had women fight over men. More so than the men fight over the women. The women fight over the men. Instances of residents trying to make other residents jealous. I'm going to take Steve with me to bingo. So Tom will look my way and wonder what she's doing. So that still does happen as we age. And we encourage that connection, whether it be physical or companionship. One of my favorite stories is regarding a woman that had progressive dementia. And when she went to live in the care home, her husband stayed at home because he was very well able-bodied and able-minded. And he would come visit his wife, and because of her confusion, she kind of latched on to another male resident. In her mind, that was someone that was her special friend. And sometimes that can be quite upsetting to your spouse or to the spouse in that situation. They don't understand how someone they've been married to for over 40 years could forget them or could be affectionate with someone else. But in this instance, the husband really had what I feel is a very progressive, healthy approach. So he would come to the care home to visit his wife, and she would be sitting with the other gentleman, holding hands with the other gentleman, introduce the gentleman as her husband to her husband. And, it is hard to take that personally, but instead, he went up to the nurse's station and said, ma'am, is it okay if I take my wife and her boyfriend out for ice cream? Because he knows that you can't force her to remember. You can't reason with her to remember. So he loved her where she was at. So I guess love people where they're at would be my best advice. And, hopefully I don't have to call any of your kids someday, and say, oh no, if I have to, I will. I've got your back.
Thank you. So, Mindy East, would you mind coming up? She has a kind of a related story to share that I think it's important. So what we do every month is we work to educate, equip, and empower. And we hope that you walk away today a little more equipped on some of these complicated topics. So my dear friend Mindy has a story I'd like for you to hear because I think it's important.
So they say if you can't be a good example, be a horrible warning. I just wanted to briefly let you know about a story. It aligns with what David was talking about the adult children. I'm remarried, so I'm not in this family anymore. But my former mother-in-law passed away last year, and the oldest daughter was able to convince her to put the house in her name solely. So she had a partner of 24 years who had been very loyal to her, and they had a wonderful relationship. Well, then she had some dementia set in, so the last 3 years of her life, she was still able to stay at home. And the daughter came in from out of town and got the house signed over into her name, so she and her mom shared that property. And her way of getting it from her mom was to say, I will pay your homeowner's dues and your property taxes. So, and the one I was married to, the middle son, had provided for his mother for 20 years. 20 years. And so, anyway, when her mother died, within 1 week, she had the house listed and she had an estate sale commissioned, and her partner of 24 years was basically out on the street. He had no time to grieve, and she kept saying, oh, well, he can have all the time he wants, but it's like, you're showing the house, or you've got the estate sale people in there going through everything. So I just wanted to say, even though, and I'm a mother of 3, if you give birth to someone or raise someone, sometimes they just happen to take after the recessive gene on the other side of the family. And just real briefly, my husband now, his father also had dementia, and he was living with a lady after his wife had died, so they were in a relationship for about 7 or 8 years before she passed away. He took the funds from the marital home, put it into this lady's property, and had nothing to show for it after she died because that house was legally in her name. So I just want to caution you. I mean, you can talk to someone. David is your man right there. And yes, fleece and gooing. And I'm not an attorney, and
But we think you should see one.
yes, we think you should see one. And if nothing else, save your receipts. If you're putting any money,
It cut out.
okay, you're putting any money into someone else's property that are not on their deed, make sure that you have your, covered. And I'm sure the legal experts in the room would help you with that.
Yes. Cover your assets. Okay. And with that, we'll take it back to the date maven.
Do I get my picture up? Yeah. Woo, okay. Well, I'm going to go a different direction, I guess. Right. Let's float the balloons here. So my fervent belief, my motto is that I'm here to love, serve, and evolve, and I really try to kind of bleed that out to the people that I work with. And so I have a challenge for you. Raise your hand if you're up for a gentle challenge. Woohoo! Yes. Well, I don't think this will be too far out your comfort zone. It just requires a little bit of just remembering. So the way that we give and receive love, the way that we connect and exchange love is that we give acceptance, we give allowing, we give appreciation, attention, and affection. Those are the 5 A's. You can burn that in your brain, the 5 A's. So my challenge for you is, as you go about your day or the rest of the week, could you seek to give at least 2 of the A's, attention, appreciation, acceptance, affection, or allowing, to someone in your world? And it could be a romantic partner, it could be a child, it could be a family member, a neighbor. Just give one of those 5 A's, attention, accepting, appreciation, affection, or allowing. And just give it without expectation of anything in return, but notice how much does come back to you in return when you do that.
We'll soothe you. And Jillian is going to come around with the mic.
You guys, I do not bite. You should know this. But yes, here we go. Got one.
Well, it's not so much a question, but just a comment. Earlier, Mr. David Rom. Sorry, took my glasses off, my other glasses. Yes. So earlier you were talking about ways to give stuff away, And, I kind of like your idea, but one thing I discovered is, okay, so I travel a lot. I move a lot. I was in the military. Now I'm out of the military, but God still moves me all over the place. I don't know why. But anyway, so I collect trinkets and stuff. And when I was about 30, I realized I had a lot of stuff, and it was a lot to move. So I started, every time I went to a family event or something, I would box stuff up. And sometimes I'd wrap them in different size boxes and stuff. And I would do what was called Aunt Lori's treasure trove. And so they didn't always know what they were getting, but at least it wasn't like, oh, they were picking something out that I wasn't ready to part with yet. So finally, I had gotten to where I wasn't collecting quite so much, but I noticed in the last year when I started volunteering with the Red Cross and traveling a lot again, I was getting more trinkets. So Aunt Lori's Treasure Trove, we'll have a little booth at the next family reunion in June, but, and I just have it wrapped in, it might be a big box with a little thing, or it might be a little box with a big thing, kind of, it's just, they never know what they're getting, but, everyone gets excited. My nieces and nephews all loved it. They're like, oh, Aunt Lori's Treasure Trove. And so it's just one way to get rid of the, I can't talk today, but extra stuff, but yeah, and to just downsize as I go, because moving is hard.
It's a great idea.
They claim that you spend the first 60 years of your stuff accumulating stuff and the last 20 years giving it away. And that's kind of true. And I wanted to speak about this other comment a minute ago about dating when you're older. Some people are very happy being solitary, and some people are a social animal like me, and if an hour goes by and I'm not talking to somebody, I'm about to lose my mind. So whatever you are, whatever your lifestyle is, take advantage of it and enjoy it. We don't have to raise children now. We don't have to get up and go to work every day now. We don't have to do all this stuff we used to have to do for 50 years, right? And we're independent. We have the freedom to go do what we want to do now. So take advantage of it. And if you're a social animal, get out there like me. And if you're not, at least get around people now and then, right? But if you're dating and you want to get in a serious relationship with somebody, or you want to get remarried, that's all fine and dandy, but most of us have kids, and you want to leave your assets to your kids, and he wants to leave his assets to his kids. So get a prenup. They're not hard to write. They're very simple. And, just sit down with somebody that can guide you through making sure your assets end up in your kids' hands, right? And also, if you're not married and you're living together for 24 years like that other person, then if you sit down with an attorney, they can make sure that your partner, if you want them to, stays in your house for the rest of their life, even after you go, by giving you a life estate or something similar to that. I'm an Arizona lawyer, not a Kansas lawyer, but probably similar. And so there are ways to handle all these things, and it comes back to be prepared and ask for help. Don't be ashamed to ask for help, because the answers are out there. And you generally end up with the worst possible outcome if you are afraid to ask for help, and the best possible outcome if you get help.
Thank you, David. I know for Mindy's mother-in-law, she said, well, what's going to happen to your partner when you're gone? And didn't she say something like, well, I don't know, I'll be gone. So she wasn't worried about it, but it really turned out very, very sad for him. And her ex-husband has come to this guy's rescue, too. So not only did he support his mother, didn't get anything out of the house, that's all right. Now he's helping to support the boyfriend because the sister absconded with all the goods. So, and that poor man had nothing. So anyway, so you got to see the people that brought the coffee. Can we appreciate Fleece and Gooing for bringing coffee? And Providence back there for helping set up the banners. Did you guys bring cookies today? No? Bretta, you brought those. Thank you, Bretta, who's here every month to help us set up. My mom, and is Diane here? The ladies that go around and pass out the brochures, the senior ambassadors that sign people in. We would love for some of you to think about being senior ambassadors, and we'd like you to come to our office. We're going to set a date and send out invitations for you to come to our office, and we're going to cook breakfast for you. And we want to thank the ambassadors and encourage you to make it a social club and have more fun, like David suggested. And for those of you wondering what to do with your extra stuff, I love the treasure trove mystery gift. You could always gift wrap your junk and give it to the kids at Christmas, or Jeremy Shear can turn it into cash.
Yes, my name is Jeremy Shear. I own Vintage Visions Estate Sales. I'm a local company here in Wichita. For those of you who are interested, the three main reasons why people have estate sales, one is downsizing. So if you're in like a 3-bedroom house, you're getting tired of keeping up with the garden, things are getting expensive, you're ready to go into like a townhome or an apartment. You keep all your stuff that you want to keep, and the rest of the stuff that's excess, you can give us a call, and we will come appraise everything for you. We'll host it online, and we will put a live sale on as well. A lot of you probably wonder, why not just do a garage sale or do your own estate sale? I would strongly discourage that for 2 reasons. One, your clientele, the people that go to garage sales, they are going in with the mindset of these people are just wanting to get rid of their stuff. This is their junk. I can nickel and dime it. I can get it for cheap or even for free. When you have a estate professional come in and appraise your stuff, people that shop estate sales are very loyal. I have the same people that come to all my estate sales, and they understand that we have connections with professions, from people who know things about radios, books, jewelry. They're all a phone call away from me, and I can have everything professionally appraised, and they know that they can't nickel and dime us. So we know you're not going to get 100% of everything that you spent back, but it's our job to get the most back to you, because we know that the money wasn't free that you guys spent to pay for this stuff. It's your work, overtime, you miss time with family to pay for this stuff. So we take it pretty seriously, and we try to, get as much back for you as we can. If you guys are interested, we'll be over here after the seminar, and we'll also be talking about Downsizers Club, 3rd Thursday of every month at 2 o'clock at the Keller Williams East location. We have a sign-up sheet, pamphlets, brochure, and we also have a brochure for our estate sale company as well.
Do you have a facility where you have these sales, or do you do it in an individual's home, or do you sometimes add things to another estate sale?
Gotcha. The question is, do we do our estate sales at a specific location, or do we do it at the individual's home? Most of the time we do it at the individual's home if it's enough stuff. If we only need to sell a few items on consignment, we do have an area that we can pluck your items and sell it outside of your home if you only have a few items and you're ready to get moving on. But typically we like to do it in the home because it's less moving around. We don't have to touch everything twice. We just get it all set up. Yes, exactly. And then we have online advertising and road advertising to get people to the home. It's pretty standard for estate sales to be ran in the home of the individual that we are selling the estate.
Do you have a percentage that you take off the top? Or?
Yes, we have a fixed rate. It's a flat rate cost. Each percent depends on the size of the sale, but that covers advertising, which we're part of, I think, 20 or 25 online buying and selling groups that we have to pay money to be part of, so we get a lot of eyeballs on the sales.
Very good. I've got a lot of stuff. My house is full of stuff.
Well,
too, so.
you can get free consults, and we can help you really dial it down and figure it out. He's got an amazing team of men, which I'm so excited because they can lift and move things, and so we are so excited. Well, I know, Jillian, you're strong too.
I'm super strong.
We work out.
Jeremy and I moved a whole desk. Flights of stairs and stuff. Oh, I guess we used an elevator.
Yeah, and we definitely believe in working out, by the way, and so it was really awesome that Rebecca was here. There's a question back there. Rebecca was here because we really believe in functional fitness. And in order to keep up your love relationships with everyone and keep up with those great grandkids at Disney World, we really encourage you to be active in fitness.
Is this considered like a living estate sale, or is that really a thing?
Oh, yeah, we do living estate sales all the time. And if someone you know is getting ready to do an estate sale, that's kind of a good opportunity for you to add stuff to it. So if you've got stuff that you want gone, give us a call.
Yeah, I'm actually working on a living estate sale at the moment. The lady's downsizing, and she's just brought the stuff that she needs, and we're selling off the rest.
So almost all the estate sales that we're part of are living estate sales because people are moving into a fresh start. So they might be moving across country or doing all kinds of things. And we do living estate sales to get some of your money back. Because everything that you have bought over the years or were given, it used to be cash. So we'll do the best we can to turn some of it back into cash. All right. It's sad when the kids don't take things that you think they should, but through an estate sale, you can sell it to somebody that does want it. So a garage sale is how you get rid of junk you don't want. Estate sale is how you release things into the universe to people that want it. All right. Are we done with Q&A? Oh, we're getting a secret question. All right, is that it? All right. And then we can take one more if there's one, and then we're going to wrap. And Delno, if we could get a picture of the group in front of the flag, and then you guys can have at them. You can come visit with any of them or any of the education partners in the room to ask your questions.
I wanted to know if the estate sale industry is regulated by state or municipal law.
And is there another question to that? Is there a concern you have on that?
I had an experience at an estate sale last week, a very dramatic experience with some financial irregularities, which I reported to the owner.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering if that industry is regulated, like realtors are regulated, they have certain licensing and things like that. Do estate sale operators have to have license or permits or anything?
I mean, I know we have our business license, we have an LLC, and we file every single estate sale through the county. That being said, I would make sure before you do sign an estate sale company, you vet them on those particular items if you are worried about those concerns. Right.
So they carry insurance and that. And so we're experts, too, at knowing who's doing what out there in the community. So you can always call and ask us for recommendations. Okay, great questions. Well, guys, thanks for playing with us today. Who thought this topic was surprising? Thanks for coming anyway. Who had a friend say, oh, I'm not coming to that? A couple. And what are you going to tell them? Are you going to tell them it's okay to come back? All right. And Michelle, Lloyd, and I are working on the schedule for the rest of the year. We'll be posting that soon. Thank you very much to our panelists. We appreciate you being here. And we appreciate all of you for being here, the kickoff to our 6th year. Make sure to take advantage of that little photo booth and the beautiful gardens. We've paid for your admission so that you can enjoy the gardens. Thank you so much for being here.
You guys, we really would appreciate it if you would fill out those surveys for us so we know any questions, comments, or emotional outbursts, how we can help you on future seminars. That really helps us out. And do not forget to go over and get your pictures taken right over here. Sherry just walked by. I know I'm going to be there.
And please take your planning forms with you or give them to us and we'll reach out to you. Take them home and prepare. Be prepared.